Hello, hello, hello. I'm Dr. Fred Jones, best-selling author, host of Publish Me Now TV. Um, my website is drfredjones.com, and I have the privilege of working with private clients who publish their books with me as a publishing strategist, and I have one right here, right there. It's Tameika Devine Isaac. Tameika, good day. How are you today?
I'm doing wonderful, Fred. How are you doing?
Hey, I'm excited to catch you. I know you're busy, and to just have a moment of your time to talk with you, this is special to me. So I wanted you to just tell us, introduce yourself, so that those that are viewing will know who I'm speaking with, because I think you're a phenomenal leader.
Well, thank you so very much. I am Tameika Isaac Devine. I am an attorney, an elected member of the Columbia, South Carolina City Council. I am also a public speaker,
Mhm.
a success strategist, and I am a best-selling author.
Wait a minute,
Um,
wait a minute. I'm gonna jump in. Wait a minute. I think you're toning it down. A multiple best-selling author.
a multiple best-selling
Yeah.
author. Yes.
National. Okay, go ahead.
Yes, and I have um, and I'm the founder of the Possibilities Institute, where I work with women and leaders, help them unlock the possibilities that they have within, and really prepare for the next season of their life. And I will tell you that it has been an extreme honor and privilege to get to know you, Dr. Fred Jones, as a friend, as a publishing strategist, as a mentor, and my multiple best-selling book, Born into Heaven, has been phenomenal for me and my husband to really elevate us and really give us a platform to be able to share our story throughout this country.
Now, Tameika, thank you so much. Now, this is the first book that you've published. Am I correct?
It is correct.
Okay. How has life changed? What has happened since you published this book and become a best-selling author?
Okay. Well, previously, before we wrote the book, I said we, my husband and I co-wrote the book together. And before we wrote the book, I was doing a lot of public speaking, and I actually was doing some coaching. But I really wanted to increase the impact that we were having through our public speaking engagement. And so I always would pray to the Lord to help me increase my impact, my influence, and my income. And so through that, he really did lead us to write this story, Born into Heaven, which is the story of the loss of our son last year, who was stillborn at 37 and a half weeks of pregnancy. And we just wanted to really share our story. But since we've published the book, and with the strategies that we actually learned from working with you, we were able to become a multiple bestseller, which really put the book on lists and in front of people that we probably would not have been able to ordinarily. And since we published the book, we have been invited to speak at different forums. We've spoken at our church. We've spoken at another church. We've actually been invited, and that's one of the things that I want to stress, that it has given us an audience of other people that we didn't necessarily, wouldn't have automatically have an entryway into. We've actually spoken at a predominantly white church that invited us to come and speak. And then we've also were asked to come to the Florida Black Expo. And so we went down there. And in addition to speaking and expanding our speakers platform, we've been able to have book signings and interact with people. And now that the book is available pretty much weekly, probably every other day, we're getting a call from someone who not only wants to purchase the book, but then wants to inquire about how can they connect us with a couple who has had a similar experience. And so it really has become more of a ministry as well, because we've been able to share our story through our book, but then the book has also been healing to other people and been able to share with other people who've had a similar experience and really help them connect with us in another way.
So, are you saying that basically by you sharing your own story, your own personal experience, you are now an expert?
I will. I'd say that. I mean, and it's funny because a lot of people are hesitant to acknowledge themselves as an expert. I am not a medical doctor, but I am a mom, And I've had this very personal experience that, sometimes you think it's personal to you and you share it, but through sharing my experience, I have had so many women who have reached out to me, and the feelings and the thoughts and the things that I share in the book, they've had that same exact experience, those same feelings. And by hearing and reading my words, have been able to really help them through their therapy and deal with it. The full title of our book is Born into Heaven: Lessons of Love, Faith, and Reclaiming Your Joy in the Midst of a Storm. So when you talk about the lessons that we share in the book, those things are, although sometimes you think are unique to you when you're experiencing stuff, other people are experiencing and maybe having the same feelings. And as you share it, you don't know how many other lives that you could be touching. And so it's been phenomenal. I mean, God is amazing. When I say that He gave us a story and we didn't exactly know what to do with it, but through the story, we've shared our story through our book. We founded a foundation. We're doing more public speaking. We've been able to really develop a ministry and being able to help other couples who have gone through similar experiences and want to learn how, or want to know from us, how did you all get through it? Especially for us, because we're public figures. We went through this in a public way. People are like, how did you get through it? And so the book has given us that, it has been that avenue to give us that audience with people who may not have been able to connect with us in another way, and really been able to allow us to minister to them and help them through their journey.
How did you get started? I mean, you probably had this idea that I want to write a book. I want to share my story. What did you do to get started? Speak to those who are listening right now. They have a book in them and want to get started, but don't know how to quite move.
Mm-hmm. Well, what I would say is, first of all, you got to definitely make that decision to move. So many times, and I'll share with you that I actually have said for years now that I was going to write a book, not about this topic because I didn't have this experience yet, but as a wife, as a mother, as an elected official, I typically speak to women about work-life harmony and about how do you juggle all the hats and how do you make time for yourself, all those kind of things. And so I've had in me for years, and that will be my next book, thanks to you, Dr. Fred, and working with you. But I've had that in me for years, saying I was going to write a book about women's leadership and just kind of share some tips that I have. But I'll be honest with you, I really didn't have a driving force. I kept saying, oh, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it someday. And I never did it. I never sat down and did it. With this one, of course, this was a story that an experience I had, and I really felt that God was leading me to share it. But then the other thing was I met you, and I met someone who was able to say, you have a story, you have to tell your story, stop, thinking about it and actually do it. And so, we sat down, I started writing my part. I encouraged my husband to start writing his part, and he did that. And then we pulled it together. And as we were writing our stories and pulling them together, then, we worked with you on the logistics of getting it written. And then after getting it written, how to get it edited, how to get with a graphic designer to get your graphics together. And then, how do you ultimately publish it? So it was really easy to have someone like you help us guide us, through the entire process. But for us, it was really the beginning was making that decision, and then having someone like you to encourage you to get it done instead of procrastinating.
Looking back over it, what would you do different?
Oh gosh. Looking back over it, I would probably hmm, I would have started earlier probably. That was one of the things, because I actually got into the process and realized that it was doable. I kind of look at why I didn't do it before. Um, so I think maybe that's something I would have done differently. And for me, I think understanding that promoting a book takes time, it takes effort, it takes money. And so, probably planning for that portion of it. I think that for us, and we still are in that promotion period, and I'll still be promoting the book, but I really would have liked to have probably had done more on the saying, okay, I'm going to market, and this is how I'm going to market. I'm going to start, um, doing this, and I have a real concrete marketing plan for myself. And I think if I didn't have you, the little bit of marketing that we did do, I wouldn't have done, because you helped with that strategy and understanding how do you do that part of it. And so, that was not something I had thought about and planned. I kind of just jumped into it and said, okay, this is all okay. Now I got to market it. Once I've written the book and once I published it, now I've got to market it so people know it's out there. So for me, I'm more of a planner. So that's probably something I would have done. But other than that, I mean, I really think that um, for my next book, some of the things that you talked about, and we've discussed before about making getting your story out there, dedicating the time to writing. Some of the strategies that you've shared with me about how do you excuse me, get your material out. That's something that I will do with my next book.
What would you say to that? Yeah.
Excuse me.
Got your drink of water there somewhere?
I know, exactly.
Okay.
I do.
All right. All right. Good deal.
As a speaker, you got to keep water close to you.
It's a friend. It's a friend. Okay. What would you say to that high achieving woman out there that's just like you, who has a book in her and it's saying, I don't have time?
What I would say is that you don't have time not to do it. Your story is important. It's powerful, and it can help other women. And so you got to make the time to do it.
Mm-hmm.
But you also have to invest in the know-how and expertise on how to get it done and get it done correctly. I'm a busy person. I don't have a lot of time. I don't have months and months to write a story. And so, some of the strategies that you employ with your clients to help them get it actually written, through, through interviews and ideas and identifying the poignant points in your life that you need to do. I mean, those are the things that actually help you get it done quicker. And so there are some things that if you invest in somebody who can help you along the process, it can save you time, effort, and money and energy. And so I would suggest to somebody that if you have a story, think about investing with a strategist to make sure that you have the right person helping you along the way. But then once you do that, make a decision. You got to make the decision to get it done. One of the things that we do at the Possibilities Institute, as I work with women all the time, is talk to us about how, women, we tend to put so much out there and talk to other people, or focus on what's important to other people. Excuse me, and not necessarily what's important for us and taking care of ourselves. And so I think that where I help women in their breakthrough is saying, what is possible. If you believe that you have a story in you, if you believe that you can be an author, I actually I'll share with you my vision board for 2016.
Please.
I can have it up here, but if you can see, I have author as on my vision board.
Uh-huh.
And that was my 2015, excuse me, that was my 2015 vision board. Yeah. And I put that out there and I spoke it into being, but I also consciously made that decision that I was going to get it done. And so I didn't have time to wait. I needed to stop procrastinating, as I had done with the previous book, that now I will finally get done, and find someone like Dr. Fred Jones who could help me actually really do it and hold me accountable to getting it done.